Do you believe that in order to make spiritual progress, you have to drop your story? Well, I know I believed in that I had to drop my story, and I was heavily persuaded by books like Byron Katie's Who Would You Be Without Your Story? A lovely, beautiful book, by the way. So here's my take on why that might not be such a good idea for us, at least at first. So the thought of dropping your story, it's good advice, but it is, in my opinion, at the wrong level. It is for when you first made peace with your story. So I tried for many years to drop my story, and especially when I was getting into Eckhart Tolle and he has a similar message, perhaps expressed less strongly than Byron Katie. But anyway, I adopted this, and I know many people do drop a story. But what was then happening is that I was trying to drop it too soon and denying it, end up denying it. Well, you've got to drop your story. So I have a story and I feel pain. I have needs, but those are unspiritual, those are to do with the ego. So I won't listen to those. So it took me a while to discover that doesn't really work. In fact, what works better is to first do the exact opposite. First is to listen to your story, to give it space. And your story, yes, it's involved with the ego, but the ego has some important information for us. Where the ego hurts, that's showing us a place where our soul energy, our awareness energy, our pure divine light is clouded over. Now, if we just remove our story, we don't always know where that clouded part is. But the ego knows, and if we follow the ego and its story down to the source, we will find something truly surprising. So here's the radical method. Well, it felt radical for me when I first learned it. It is to inquire into the story and to listen to your story or somebody else's. Now, I know it's a pain to listen to other people's stories if they're just complaining, but imagine this is a coaching situation. You're with someone who's skilled at this, and you can invite them to tell their story. It can be simple as, hey, what's happening with you today? What's happening now? And then you offer that listening, and the person can go in and without fear of judgment, talk out what is happening with them. And you might start with something simple like, what's happening with me is I'm feeling a bit off today, I didn't sleep so good. We skirt around the surface of things, but then if you just let them talk for a while, and while you're doing it to yourself as well, you can do it for others and for yourself, you just allow yourself to talk. Well, didn't sleep so well, feel a bit, maybe I'm feeling a little bit unsettled. And you can be curious, what am I unsettled about? Could be this. And you follow it without judgment. The important thing is to listen, absolutely without judgment, and allow space. So a good image you can have in mind for this is imagine a child. So when the child comes running to you, they think there's a boogeyman under the bed. Do you just first tell them they're nonsense and lying and dreaming? Or do you play along with it? And listen, oh, okay, wow, that sounds scary. Should we go and look? Oh, okay. So you can walk with them. So now you're providing a resonance. You're providing the clear, coherent resonance that will enable them to look under the bed, as it were. So we do the same. We're enabling that person to say, it's okay. Your feelings and your story is okay because we're in the safe space of listening. Not the same as somebody who's complaining and always on about their problems. That'll be a pain. But you could get that person and say, hey, listen, would you like to talk through this? Now I'll listen, and occasionally I'll ask questions just to clarify. So that's about the most you do. Inquire and ask clarifying questions just to get to what is it? Is it this or is it this? What makes you feel pain? Is it that or that? Okay. You'll find that when you do this with someone, they start to relax because they've been heard, like the child who sees a ghost under the bed or has hurt themselves. Maybe tiny little kids will go mad about a tiny little scrape. You don't tell them they're stupid. You listen to it. You kiss it better or put a plaster on, even if it doesn't need a plaster. Because why? Because they feel heard. So what you want to do is come home to yourself. You want to be heard by the other and by yourself. Mostly by yourself. So you do this for yourself. You hear yourself as if you were a child. Only when you've heard yourself and you come home, that inner part of you, the parts actually, who are hurt, can say, I've been heard, and I've been heard by someone who is an adult to me. Because the listening self is your awareness. So your listening self is like a parent in that, or the adult. And your ego self can then speak what it needs to. And if you just follow that inquiry down, you'll eventually arrive at the top layer, if you like, is thoughts, ideas, wants. I want this, I want that. Then we get down to what we really need. What I really need here. And it can be shocking for people on spiritual path to realize they have needs. Because we're taught not to have needs. It's another part of Drop Your Story. But we do have needs. The difficult thing is that sometimes these get hijacked by ego. So at first, what we think we need is not what we really need. Like an example is, I need sleep. So in that way is true, but if you don't have sleep, then you're in trouble because you can't get sleep. What you really need and what you long for is rest, life, replenishment. So what you want to do is feel your way down through the layers till we arrive at needs and then to the little heart lyings. What I really long for is rest, peace, joy, life. And those are all qualities of being, qualities of your divine essence. And they already are in your heart. So this is the method for following the ego down and arriving at the heart quality and of being and essence. And knowing that you already have it. This is the secret of manifestation, of knowing you have it already. You have it already because it's a heart quality within you that you don't have to do anything to create. So if you're just going along your life story, hit something bad, so you think, whoa, what must I do? What you'll do is a strategy to get something. So you'll go up into action. And you'll do stuff, ego actually gets more empowered, and maybe you get what you want, say more money or relationship or whatever. That effect fades and you carry on with your life and hit another bump. But you're never touching down into what the ego really, really wants, or what's beneath the ego, the little hole that's like the aperture that creates that ego. But you get it by resting into it. So next time, instead of going along and jumping up into action, consider going, whoop, stop, I feel pain, what's going on? I'll listen, and then you go down. You go down into presence, into listening. Just listen. Let yourself rage, or let the other person rage. Nothing is out of bounds. And in the listening and the hearing of that, something settles. Because there might have been many different threads happening, so they settle. And you can inquire into what do we really long for here? Is that a longing? Is that a need? What do you really need here? Because something can come to you. Well, maybe I need to speak to my partner. Maybe I need to honor myself more. Maybe I need to connect with value. Then you can feel into value. What is value? And you'll find that value is here. Value is in your I am presence. So this is how to use the ego and the pain of daily life as a meditation beginning point. And this is where you also demonstrate compassion. So you don't have to give up your story. So I would counsel now, people usually don't try to give up your story too soon. What will happen is that eventually, if you do this process, at the end of it, your story will disappear by itself. I've been heard, now the story is gone. Like the little kid with the scary monster under the bed. The way to get rid of the scary monsters is to listen to the child and help them see that there's no scary monster, and then the whole monster story dissolves of its own. You do that by listening, by honoring that part, by honoring the feelings. You've got to feel all the feels, feel the feels. The feelings will take you down through what seems to be missing to what you actually have, what you are. And this is the foundation of what would call for me is non-dual coaching or presence coaching. You don't start from non-duality, but you operate from that sense that there's not one particular person listening, not a particular separate client, but there's a role being played. Somebody's listening and somebody's relating and feeling. And you enact these roles without necessarily being divided into two separate people. And use the listener even as you listen to the client or your friend, you listen to yourself. And then the two of you will enter that state of presence. There's not really separation. There's no client, patient, whatever. It's just being now. Then you arrive at a subtle non-dual presence, because the two-ness has been diminished. With your story, it just disappears. Then you can rest in that presence and know that you are it. Know that I am. And then from there you can come up the huge again. Now with action. Now your mind will give you what to do or not to do. You carry on. My friends, try that. Let me know in comments how it works for you. And do, of course, like and subscribe. And stay tuned for more.